Batisi TV, Lawan Rashipi Daka Frank Yamaha, the Maxi Sports Scooter A-Rox 155, Ringkat Bakanet Foodish, Ordar Mapi, Ninwan Ramani, Hakir Dewïong Jompi.
That earlier the government of Meghalaya had filed a case in the Supreme Court against the ban that was imposed on coal mining in the year 2014 by the NJT. And since then, there were no concrete steps that were taken to lift the ban on the coal mining. It was only when this government had come in that we had taken up the matter in the Supreme Court, and the case was filed in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court had given a landmark judgment during that time where we had been able to ensure that the ownership of the land, both surface and subsurface, will be vested with the local tribal residents of the state. And based on that, the ban on the coal mining was lifted. But in the same process, there were certain procedures were laid down through which mining could take place. And hence the process of scientific mining was brought into the state, which, based on the Supreme Court order, we had to move forward with. Based on that, many applicants came in, and of course before that happened, the government of Meghalaya, along with the government of India, had framed rules in the year 2022 in March, where standard operating procedures for prospecting licenses and mining licenses for coal in the state of Meghalaya were formed. Once these SOPs were set up, we had received in the last couple of years total of 17 applicants for prospecting licenses. And after that, these prospecting licenses, 17 applicants was sent to the government of India. In a recent meeting that was held by the government of India, the government of India has, the Ministry of Coal, has finally given us in writing where the geological reports of the state that have been submitted by 4 of the miners has been approved by the government of India. Once these geological reports are approved, this is one step away from the mining license to now be given. And hence, these 4 applicants now, whose geological reports now have been approved by Government of India, will submit their mining plans as per the norms laid down by Government of Meghalaya and Government of India. And we expect that the licenses should shortly be given to these 4 miners or these 4 applicants. And this communication has come, as I said, from the Government of India to the respected miners and the people who have applied. And hence this is a major step forward towards now opening up the mining in a scientific manner, and we are very, very hopeful that very soon that this the scientific process for mining will start in the state. As I said, that this was a very long and tedious process, as it required us to first of all lift the ban, create the SOPs. Once the SOPs were created, we needed to proceed with that forward. There were certain terms and conditions that were laid down by Government of India which we had to then fulfill, and the miners had to fulfill. Prospective licenses had to be done, geological reports and surveys had to be made. At a final stage where very soon the first four mining licenses will be granted to the landowners and to the licensees who are the local residents, so that the scientific mining can start. So this is a major step forward, and I am very hopeful that very soon we should be able to see the scientific process of mining starting, with these geological reports being approved by the central government. 32 lakh metric ton was what was approved by the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court had given a procedure on which it should be transported and auctioned out, and all those processes are being followed, and they are very tedious in nature because it requires a lot of technical aspects, and the Supreme Court is very particular, Coal India is very particular, and so therefore the process was delayed a bit, but it is on track now, and auctioning is going on as we speak, and it will continue also in the future. It's been very clear that anybody who breaks the law, then the law will take its own course, and there are provisions under the MMDR Act based on which action will be taken against those. So the point being that now that this process has moved forward, and now that we are seeing that we are one step away from scientific mining to start, I hope that we will not see individuals now break the law and do things that are not to be done in an illegal manner. Because these were the ones who applied first. So theirs has moved. Now as the others will move, others will follow. But I think what is important is that the process has now started, and now things are falling into place. And this was a major part of the entire process. And as I said, this is a really great news for the entire coal sector in the state, and for all the miners who have really suffered for a very long time, and which has led to a lot of huge economic losses for the people. And more importantly, these people have suffered a lot in the beginning, because earlier, when the ban was put in, no steps were taken to really lift the ban at that point in time. And it was only the government that the steps were taken. And we have put in a lot of hard work into this. And we are happy to see that we are finally seeing the results of this. And as I said, we are just a step away now from the final mining plan being approved.